Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Haunt Talk. Today, we are going to be talking about our top 10 favorite haunts to go to, specifically in Ohio. We've done top videos before, but we thought it would be helpful because a lot of people that watch our channel are Ohioans.
Yes.
And so this one's specifically on that because we've been to a lot, not all of them. There's still some ones we'll get to this year, which we might talk about later in this episode. I'll probably use this as a podcast as well. Again, we're still not sure if we're going to be doing all of the haunt reviews because haunt season's coming up in podcast form. If you don't listen to our podcast and you are just a Haunt Talk person, make sure to check it out. It's Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
And we do it in video form as well, but the podcast form is uploaded on Fridays and the video form on Saturdays. And I try and make that consistent. We've been kind of missing lately. Well, depending on when you listen to this, we might actually be consistent because we're filming a whole bunch of episodes today. But yeah, so if you're interested in anything paranormal and all of that, as well as the fake haunted houses, make sure to check that out as well. But yeah, I think that about does it for the little introductory things. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe and all of that stuff, because again, haunt season is coming up, so there's going to be tons of haunted house reviews. We plan on going to a shit ton of places this year. We already have our Halloween Horror Nights vacation booked, so there's going to be a lot of that coverage. I plan on filming a lot more there. We know we're going to probably doing more Gettysburg. Maybe we might be going to New York to Headless Horseman. Please, 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 if you're watching this, let us know in the comments where you'd like to see us go.
Yes.
What you would like to see a review on.
Yes.
Said anywhere in Ohio, PA, we usually try and go to a couple far ones. So even if it's for a further one and you don't think we go to it, recommend it because we will still try and go to it, if not this year and following years. Mm-hmm. If you're a haunt owner, make sure, let us know if you'd like us to come. Invite us out. We'll do it. If you want us to even film some stuff in there, film anything about you, we will do that as well. But Kim will probably show you, she'll see more if you watch our Haunt Talk episodes, we do reviews. But our Book of the Dead, which we recently acquired from an artist, we thought it was perfect.
Smells like flesh.
Yes. Or maybe latex.
Or latex.
Maybe latex. No, it's made out of flesh.
Yeah.
Local cats. But yes, this is our book that we keep all of our haunted house reviews. Even if I have them typed out, we always print them in She as a book. Throughout the years, there might be some missing in there, but that has the majority of the haunts we've done.
I think we started this book in like 2018, yes. Maybe 17. Yeah. I tried to put some of the earlier ones in here, but it got a little too much, so it's mostly the most recent ones that really count, because like a lot of the haunted houses, you know, before they were kind of meh, and they kind of built up better in the recent years, so it's kind of nice to have like how they progressed.
Compare. Yes, it's nice to have that because I delete files.
Yeah,
I don't like to keep things very much. I clear things out every year when we're done, so it's nice we have paper copy, and it's kind of cool now that we have this. We can do a whole like Goosebumps presentation. We plan on doing all kinds of cool stuff with the set that's behind us this year as well. We've been really revamping the channel this year, so again, if you're a more newer viewer, you probably noticed that things look a little bit differently, and But let's go ahead and start. So we are ranking these 10 to 1, 10 being, and then again, these are our top 10, so none of them are bad, but 10 being the quote-unquote worst. Again, not bad, but our least favorite of the 10. And at the end of the list, we are going to be talking about some honorable mentions that didn't make the list, but ones that we still say you should go to.
Yes.
Yes, so I will let Kim take it off with number 10.
All right, so our number 10 on our list is Factory of Terror in Canton, Ohio.
Yes. Now, if you have not been to this place is gargantuan. It's large. Huge.
Biggest haunted house I've ever seen. Guys, we're dorks.
Yeah. It's quite literally in a factory. So Factory of Terror is a correct name. It's interesting about this one, it used to be in an actual haunted factory. It was a smaller location, the Hercules Engine Factory, but then they changed locations to, I'm actually not sure what this factory used to be, but it's bigger, it's freaking huge. It was also part of our haunt documentary, so if you're interested in like behind the scenes, it's on the channel for free. It's about 2 hours long, so it's pretty in-depth, 4 haunted houses, and it's called Haunt Behind the Scare. Future Josh, remember to put this link in the description of both the video and the podcast. And I will try and remember to do that. If not, if I don't remember to do that, just search it out on YouTube. It's there. It's easy to find. It's on our channel. Now, the reason the Factory of Terror is number 10 is mainly because the constant problem that they have is there's never enough actors, and I think it's like kind of the downside of having something so huge.
Yes.
The haunt is so big, but it is hard to hire enough people because there's already a lot of actors, but there's also a lot of dead space because it's so big.
Or they're relying on animatronics to do the scare for them.
Right.
Whereas I really think that an animatronic is more of a distraction.
Yeah.
If anything. Sometimes you could have an animatronic that will do your scare for you. But when you just rely on it to do it, it's just kind of like...
And I think like their goal is to use the animatronics as a distraction. It's just like I think it has to be just a staffing issue that it's hard to find people to just work in every crevice of this haunt. And there are some sections of the haunt that just don't need to be there, and they're there just so they can say how long it is. Like there's sections of Black Hallway. There's been problems before, which they have made better, but there's one of the haunts is almost entirely blackness, and some people like that, I guess, but that happens more than once. And I'm just not a big fan of that. I would like to see that improve. But overall, this haunt is huge. It's a good bang for your buck. The actors that are there are pretty aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the scenes in this place are immaculate and top-tier haunt material.
Yes.
There's some real interesting things that I haven't seen in other places, I would say, at this place. And they do have a lot of puppets and stuff there, which I do like those, because those are human-controlled.
Yeah, those are human-controlled. And those actually do, like... Sometimes they like kind of pop out of nowhere and you kind of get a good scare out of it because you're not expecting a giant alligator to come at you,
Right. But overall haunt is really good and recommend if you're anywhere in the Canton area. It's good. Definitely. It's very good. They even have a bar in there now, which is actually kind of cool. You should watch a review if you want more in depth about these houses, but I just want to mention this because it's so unique. Because there's haunted houses that are having bars now, but it's kind of like outside the haunt. This one, because there's like 5 haunts, I think, at the place. I think it's 5. It's 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah. But you can't go in them in any order. You have to follow a certain path. And like about halfway through, it's like all New Orleans themed, and there's a bar there.
Yeah.
So you kind of sit in like a little mock courtyard.
You could take like a breather.
Yeah, take a breather, get a couple drinks, and then go do the last 2 haunts. I think there's 2 haunts after that section. Yeah. That's cool. But anyways, moving on to our number 9 spot, we were talking about Land of Illusion. I forget the exact town this is in, but it's really close to Toledo. It's very... I'm sorry. No, it's not. It's very close to Cincinnati.
I want to say Middletown.
Yeah. I think you're right. You talk about it while I look that up.
Okay. So, Land of Illusion is basically like one of those scream parks that you hear, where it is literally set up like a little amusement park. Where
you're right, Middletown.
Hey, go me. I'm good for something, right? It's set up like a little amusement park. And actually, during the summer months, they actually have a water park there. Yeah. Which I think is weird. It's like,
they do Christmas drive-thru lights, too.
And, yeah.
But the thing about this place, and again, watch the review if you want more in depth, but it is a little expensive, but we didn't realize, it had been a while since we've been there, it is huge.
It is really
And every haunt, it doesn't feel like your fairground haunt like some other places do. All of the haunts there are good length. I mean, heck, the trail's 30 minutes long. Yeah. There's like multiple haunts on this trail. Yeah. All the themes are great. And, of course, we went in 2020, so it kind of sucked. But this year I'm hoping to be different. Like, they can only serve alcohol to 10, but they have like a big bar and a big, like, have a party area, all these bonfires. They have live performers. Yeah. So, like, what you really want to do to get your money's worth, you get there at the beginning, get a fast pass. If do not go unless you plan on getting a fast pass, or you will not have that much fun. They even had an old school dark ride. It wasn't a good dark ride, but I mean, it was old school, so it was cool to like appreciate. Like, it was old school. It was, like, I forget for what fair it was from, but it was, like, really old.
Yeah, it was pretty ancient.
But it's cool they have it.
It's really neat
it's cool they have it. And it's just included in your ticket. It's not like an upcharge attraction. You just kind of spin around in a dark room for a little bit. That's about all that happens, but it was still neat. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was still neat.
Land of Illusion. Definitely check it out. And it's close to other ones that we will talk later on the list. Yeah.
So, our next haunt on the list, number 8, is Halloweekends at Cedar Point.
Yes. This one's a little bit surprising because when I had been there years and years ago, it was not great to me. Because we did a review, me and the person that used to do the reviews, 5-6 years ago, and like we did not like it very much. The haunts weren't very good, but when me and you went in 2019, Yes.
20...
It was 2019.
Was it 19?
I think it was 2019.
Let's go to the book!
Of the Dead. Yeah, I'm pretty positive it was 2019, but it was amazing to me how much better it had been than it was before. We did not get to go to all the haunts. We do plan on this year because we're going to go very early. We're actually going to go on opening night, which might be a mistake. I don't know, but we're trying to plan things, and it opens on the 17th of September this year, which I feel like is earlier.
It's very early.
Almost Halloween Horror Nights early.
Yeah, like, wow. I had very low expectations going in because I'm like, it's an amusement park haunted house. It's gonna be
not all of them are good. See our review of Kings Island.
Yeah.
just the haunted house. Kings Island's a great theme park.
Yeah, Kings Island's wonderful, and it's weird because they're owned by the same company, and you think they'd put the same amount of effort into those haunted houses as they did in the Cedar Point ones.
Yeah.
Not the case.
I will say though, one cool thing about Kings Island is it's really haunted, and make sure you check out our podcast and video about that. It's podcast video for whichever you'd like. That definitely will be out before this one, which is funny because we're filming it before that one. But the best thing about Cedar Points though is their scare zones because like two or three of this, I think it was two of the scare zones weren't really scare zones. They were like
just outdoor haunted houses.
That there's no line for. You just kind of walk into them. They fill them with fog. There's people on bungee cords. There's people left and right. I haven't screamed. Like, I think that was like in 2019, that was probably one of the scarier things as far as jump scares. Like, they got me so many times in these scare zones. But even the haunts were good. Like, the one that was like high school themed and the carnival one was really cool. Just really good. Haunted houses. It is Cedar Point. So, God, you might want to just consider buying a fast pass. Because, again, we literally didn't have enough time when we went. We went fairly early. We just ran out of time. Like, we didn't get to do the outside one, which was supposed to be the best. But the line was so long. If we would have went to it, we wouldn't have been able to do any of the other houses that night. But yeah, Cedar Point, like we said, is gotten really good over the years, so make sure you check it out, but just you might want to factor in fast passes if you do it, because it's Cedar Point and it's so busy all the time. And this year's going to be even worse. If it's anything like the regular days in the amusement park have been this summer, holy crap. But yeah, it's been bad. So what do we got next, Kim?
We've got number 7 is Wells Township Haunted House in Brilliant, Ohio.
Yes. Now, this one's a very unique haunted house. It's, most of it's tore down each year and rebuilt.
Yes.
And you don't go through freely. You are guided by a tour, because it's a small haunted house, but they make it in a way where each room is like a scene that unfolds. So there's usually like a scene or like a story that happens, followed by some sort of varying scare at the end.
Yeah. And it's just, I like the way that it's done, where you have a tour guide and they tell you these different stories, and it just kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of gives it a different feel than your typical parade you through haunted house. It just kind of gives you this almost like personal. If
you've ever like been to like a Halloween party or hosting your own event and like made your own little haunted house, kind of like that. I mean, think of like, okay, so like, you know, like you go and they're like, so like, I don't know, Aunt Margaret, I don't know why Aunt Margaret, guides you around and like, oh, here's this thing where you like feel the spaghetti and it's worms, and here you go do this thing. It's like that, but upscaled. Yeah. It kind of has that old school Halloween party feel, but with all the productions of a modern day haunted house.
Yeah.
And freakier, of course, but that's kind of what I think they're going for as well. And they've stayed tried and true to that. Also in the documentary, and again, we're not rating these based on bias. There's ones that are actually only one that's not in the documentary on this list. But anyways, that's the one we focused on just because of the way they tear down and rebuild everything.
Yeah.
We thought it would be interesting. And most people that watch it, if you're interested in this at all, which I assume you are, you're watching this, really are into that. Next up, though, we got a real classic one at number 6, the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory. It was recently purchased by the same people that own and run Factory of Terror, and I think that they have probably, there's some controversy, but they've probably done they've done a better job than what was happening with it, because the original guy, I can't remember his name, because again, they were also in the documentary, it was Don something, I do believe. he had passed away, and the wife just really, I mean, they're older, just, it was kind of left up almost to the staff to be doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that the management was in the right place. There were some things that happened with people that we know that was kind of upsetting about it, but that being said, I think that they have been putting a good amount of money into the haunt to make it a little bit more modern, but still wanting to keep its more classic type of roots. Very old and classic, there's a lot of scenes that are new, but there's also a lot that's been there since I went as a kid and stuff, which I really like the monster that comes out of the water in the basement, and the little shack scene, the schoolhouse scene, that's still there. The moving room scene, that's really cool. There's a whole room that shifts as you're walking, which other haunts have done now, but I believe they were one of the first, if not the first, to do so.
And the room with the big hole in the middle of it, and you can see all the different floors.
So it used to be I forget what that was used for, but it was an aviation type of tunnel for that. And that's in the laboratory. Oh, and they have the giant Tesla coil that shoots lightning at you.
Yes.
All you're walking through this cage and it's shooting lightning
terrifying.
At the cage. Yeah, it's really scary and loud. Super cool though and unique. I've never really seen another place that necessarily does that. I've seen another place with Tesla coils, but not one that shoots electricity at my face.
Yeah, because it's huge. Most places you see the Tesla coils about the size of this microphone. No, this is a big honking, the size of a car Tesla.
It's big. it's big. It's really cool. And it's nice you get two haunts for one too, and both are pretty large haunts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely check that place out if you haven't. But it's a classic. Most people have definitely heard of that one.
Yes. So next on our list for number 5 is Ghostly Manor in Sandusky, Ohio.
Yes. Now, when we went, generally in October they have Lake Erie Fear Fest.
Yes.
When we went, they just had the extended version of Ghostly Manor. Now, Ghostly Manor is a year-round haunt, and I have been many years ago when it was off-season, and it was good even off-season, even though they had 1 or 2 actors, because, again, off-season. But when me and Kim went, holy crap did it scare us.
Oh my gosh. I didn't expect very much because, it's one of those year-round tourist attraction kind of places. And I thought for sure this was going to be janky and just total dork city. And it was not. I was terrified.
It was real scary. So many jump scares. And there's just so many things happening in every room.
Yeah, there was, no spots to, catch your, breath or anything. It was just...
you're being jump scared here by something opening, and then as soon as you turn, there's something right here.
Yeah.
And it's just constantly that. It wasn't a real long haunt. I think it was 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was non-stop from beginning to end. And that's why we liked it so much. So we are very excited to... Hopefully, I haven't really seen much. I'm assuming they're going to be reopening it as Lake Erie Fear Fest because they have 2 others, and we saw the buildings. They look like pretty permanent buildings.
Yeah.
Because I know the one I've seen videos that's really cool. When it begins, you get on a ship and you go for a little mock boat ride and spray you with water and stuff, and then you get to go to it's a bayou themed shipyard, and that one looks really cool. And I'm excited to actually get to go to that this year. But next up, we are going to go back to the Cincinnati area and talk about Dent Schoolhouse. This one is so elaborate. It's one of those ones that it's kind of walking through almost like an art piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They put so much time and effort into making the haunt elaborate and theming it to this creepy janitor that's murdered the kids and all of that. Which I guess there's some. I think that it's based on some true story. It's kind of blurred, which is
they haven't found any actual documentation, but there has always been this rumor before the haunted house was even there that these children disappeared and the janitor had something to do with it.
Right.
So they kind of played on that because it was this huge urban legend of the city, and they're well, let's do a haunted house based on that because that's pretty creepy.
Yeah. And there's a lot of really creepy sections. The basement's just terrifying. It's just, there's no dark hallways. Everything is just huge and elaborate. Small reliance on animatronics. Most of the animatronics that are there is for distraction.
Yes.
And most of it seems like it's homemade. You won't see it anywhere else kind of stuff. Of course, there's some stuff you'll see other places, but everything there is just so immaculate. Usually they have something called the Queen Mary Slaughter Yard. I think it's what it's called. I think it's Queen something Slaughter Yard. That was closed when we went last year. They used it actually as an extended queue.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Which it was always kind of odd to me. I really wish that they would just kind of make something, if they're going to extend it, make something a little better, because it's really just a palette maze.
Yeah.
Which is weird to end on. You have this amazing elaborate haunt, and you have the opposite of elaborateness. It's just fog and palettes.
Or retheme it, because it didn't really I don't think it really met with the Schoolhouse.
It didn't.
Theme.
It was odd to me.
Make it like a playground. That would be cool.
Yeah, but you go there for the main haunt, and it's just so good. If you haven't been there, you have to make it there. It's great. What's
the next haunted house is number 3, the Haunted Hoochie.
Yep. Or Dead Acres.
Dead Acres.
Yeah, there's like they kind of go by both names now. Yeah. If this is one of those ones, and it always used to be talked about as one of the most extreme haunted houses. Now that places like McCamey Manor exist, and all of these weird like touch you, force feed you, rub on you with naked people wrapped in plastic kind of bullshit is a thing. It's not really known as being so extreme now, because the main thing that makes it extreme is it's very gory, it's very intense, and they do grab you. Yes. They do touch you. They will take your hat. I was, oh my God, trying to say this in a way that doesn't get me blocked or demonetized on YouTube for the video, but basically a guy bent me over, put a fake chicken on his nether regions, and then pegged me. Which is what happened. Yeah, that's the thing that happened to me there. I was like, oh, you'll get grinded on by a stripper demon nun. So if you're easily offended, the thing that we don't like about it is they play like propaganda. Like political propaganda outside the haunted house sometimes. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't need to be there. Like, it was like they still like play randomly like anti-Bush stuff, which is funny.
Yeah, it was weird because we were there like outdated. A couple years ago and they were playing anti-George W. Bush, and I'm just like,
yeah, and Trump Trump was in office at that time, so
it
was like interesting to me.
Weird.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, place is great though. It's super intense. So if you're not into that, do not go. Like what I just said made you go, no, don't go. Because it's not one of those places where you can opt out of that type of experience.
I don't want to be pegged by a chicken.
Yeah, because like some places, they give you the little bracelet and stuff. You take it off, it becomes too much. No, not this place. It's just what the experience is if you don't like it. But they have so many elaborate scenes. The other thing is like the animatronics. They have, it's like a phantasmagoria of like animatronics. They are just everywhere, but it's not like they're really using them to scare you. They're just there in the scenes. There's still actors coming from every orifice. This place is known for having like many $1 million rooms, just because of the amount of money they put into the animatronics.
There's an airplane in there.
Yeah, there's a helicopter. There's even a helicopter as well. Yeah. That's that it has the blade spin and you're walking through. It's like a whole war zone scene. It's just scene after scene. And they have a little what we call a palate cleanser, which is like a 3D clown haunted house that you go to afterwards. Bad trip in 3D, I think they call it. Yeah. The place this is really good.
It's a thing.
This is really good. And you don't know when they're going to open. They just kind of open when they feel like it too. So you just show up and just hope that they open on time. You're not there waiting for hours.
Yeah. Don't plan anything after because
it's hard.
You're probably not going to get to
end on that one and just wait in line forever. Get a fast pass if they sell them. Because it's go there if you haven't. It's great. You'll have a fun time, but it will probably offend you and scare the shit out of you. But that's what haunted house is supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
All right. So number 2 is the Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse. Now, this is probably the newest house on our actual top 10 list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. This has been open for, I think, 4 years now.
I think so.
I could be wrong, but it's about 4. Somewhere in the 3 to 5 range. This place, and sucks. Every time we go there, we end up having a bad experience not because of anything with the haunt, but because of other people. So I'm really hoping we go this year. We don't get obnoxious people.
Yeah.
Because like they let so much space in between us last time, and people still caught up to us somehow. It was insanity. But anyways, that's besides the point. I just really love to have a great experience because this place is very different than other haunted houses, which is surprising because how many times have you seen a Slaughterhouse theme, right?
Right. But like, you usually see like a little section in a haunted house and then that's it. This thing is the whole thing is Slaughterhouse theme. It's basically a family that owns a slaughterhouse and this is their property. This is their home. This is their business. This is where they grind up people and serve them.
Yeah.
It's just very well done. It's well done.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insanely well done. It's so nice. Yeah, the whole thing is just themed so much to the slaughterhouse, and every facet, like how these people would have lived, is thought out. Mm-hmm. There's the infamous school bus scene where they basically took children and and eaten them, and you find the little children body, you have to push your way through it. That's fun. So many disturbing scenes, so many cool things. They're not always worried about jump scaring you. Sometimes they're just going for a creepy atmosphere. There are plenty of jump scares.
Oh yeah.
But it's just scene after scene, and it's just so creative and so fun. because it is in an old slaughterhouse.
Yes, it is an actual old slaughterhouse that may or may not be haunted.
Yeah, I would say probably all that energy, if you believe in ghosts. But yeah, even the walk to the place when you get out of the queue line, which they had, the queue line is now, it's like cattle stalks.
Yeah, that's always fun. Because there's a guy that he usually is one of the queue line actors, and he's been there probably every time we've gone. And he's got cattle prod, and he'll like it obviously is not going to actually shock you, but it makes the noise and everything, and he hollers at you like, "Put your talking box away, your phone."
Yeah.
Don't play with your phone while you're in line because he'll yell at you.
Yeah, he'll make fun of you. That's what's thing. It just like harasses people. It's really cool. Yeah, but then like you kind of, because there's a fair distance between the end of the queue and the haunts. You kind of just see this creepy building, and it's also, they have it like all themed really well as far as like logos and stuff. Like have this logo of a pig cutting himself. Kim has the shirt.
Yes.
It's really cool. Yeah, definitely check that place out. It is close to, oh God, where is that actually? It's in like, Chippewa Lake.
Yeah, it's close to Medina.
Yeah, it's close to Medina.
Yeah.
So we usually go to the Jailhouse Tavern first, which is an amazing little, out in the middle of nowhere restaurant close to some prisons. And it's so good. Go there before if you plan on going to Chippewa. And that was, we don't have an Ohio Eats video of that out yet, but yeah, definitely go to Jailhouse Tavern. It's great. All right, Kim, what's our number one spot? Numero uno. If you watch the channel, it's not a surprise.
Not a surprise at all. Blood Prison.
Yeah.
In Mansfield, Ohio.
Which is amazing because we didn't used to like this haunt very much, but ever since, yeah, it's amazing that it went from being like meh to like our favorite consistently. For one, like, so they don't have to do that much because it's instead of a giant creepy prison, and that's going to bring huge crowds, and it did bring huge crowds for years. But now that it's under like new ownership, this team of people puts together such a great show, such an elaborate show. Now 2020, again, that was kind of an exception because they didn't even know they're going to get to open, so they didn't, like, half it was closed. So we're not taking really last year into account when we're doing this. We're mainly taking into account 2018 and 2019. 2018 was like pretty much haunted house perfection. Somehow 2019 was better.
Yeah,
like I
don't understand that, but it was.
They even like built a little like outside cave section where you'd go in like this weird little cave that was outside the prison. Yeah, there was an entire plane inside of one of the cell, like almost it was like broken in half plane that was just inside of one of the cell blocks. There's a house. Yeah, like a full house facade, and you're like, oh, I'm going in a house in there. And there's a church. There's just. It's like 45 minutes long, this thing is. It is. It's really long. It's like the whole prison. Like, it's insane. It just keeps going and going. And even when there's a little, because there is a little bit of dead space here and there, but they almost use it to their advantage because you're just kind of going through a creepy prison. So it's not like there's a dark hallway. Like when there's dead space, you're in freaking solitary confinement or something, you know, and it's like, bleh. And it's not even like, they still make it super creepy as all hell. Oh, because they, like, have it fogged up and they have, that's like, what I'm saying. Even, whiskers. Like, the more dead space is cool, yeah. And of course, they didn't do it in 2020, but they usually do the touch pass, which is where you put on the glow stick for an experience where they will just grab you and take you and throw you against walls, literally. The zombie scene, because Kim always likes to talk about it, though. I was like, why is the walls padded? And then as I'm saying it, a zombie grabbed me and threw me against the wall. But yes, so now we will kind of quickly, because this video is kind of getting long, talk about some of our honorable mentions. So this is more of like categories. So if you're watching this video and you're sticking all the way to the end, to kind of know a few different things, like what was the first one that we did? Because I wanted to well, we can do up and coming, I guess, since that's the first one you have wrote down. So we have two that we consider up and coming. Yeah. Ohio meaning they're like haunts. New. So they're very good, but they weren't quite enough to make a top 10 just because they need a little more meat on their bones or a little more time for us to really know if they... Yeah. And like the one is on here, yes, it's new, but they also just recently moved. Yeah. So we haven't seen their full haunt yet, and we kind of just want to give them, benefit of the doubt before we really say, okay, you deserve to be on this list. Maybe they will be. We'll see. That would be Carnage, which is in Columbus, Ohio. Yes. we went there for the preview event. We just had that video uploaded a couple weeks ago, so check that out. But we plan on going back because there's multiple in Ohio we want to get to. We haven't been to Haunted Hoochie in a couple years. The zoo, the water park at the zoo is having a haunted event with 300 houses and scare zones. They're calling it, instead of Zombie Sea Bay, it's Zombie Sea Bay. So that'll be cool.
Zombies.
It's Carnage. There's Fear Columbus, which is new. It's been a couple other haunted houses, but it's under new owners. Same people used to do Fear Experience, I guess. And then wasn't there another one? Well, and Carnage. You want to do Carnage.
Yeah.
So there's like 4 altogether. Yeah, 4 altogether. So we're excited to go and check that out and see what the other whole half of the haunt is like. That'll be neat. Because the first half was very good.
Yeah. And we have another up and coming on our list, and that would be Ghoul Brothers, and that is in Akron, Ohio.
Yes, very close to Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory.
Yes.
So if you're doing that, make sure you do Ghoul Brothers.
Yes.
It is fantastic. It's a little short, but it is very, like, one after another.
Dark.
It's gotten better.
Yeah, they've gotten better. They used to have a few dark hallways, but then they kind of improved on that a little bit. And we haven't been there in a couple years, so we want to try to get there probably this year.
This was the one we were really torn between this being at number 10 or Factory of Terror. We went with Factory of Terror just because the length of that one is something you really need to see because it is so unique because of how giant it is and the setting. Where Ghoul Brothers is like in a strip mall. I mean, don't hold that against it. But, you know, if they add a little bit more to it and stuff like that, I think if they can, I don't know if there's any more room in there. But I think when we talked to the owner, he said there is.
Yes.
Yeah. So the next one we want to talk about, and this one doesn't really have a theme of the category, but it's Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse, formerly known as
Lessons in Fear.
But now it goes by Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse because I think Mohican's like the area that it's in.
Yeah.
It's really close to Mansfield, Blood Prison. It's a great second haunt to go to. And that's the main reason. It is kind of up and coming as well, so we'll talk about that afterwards. But it's big, and it's in a school. I would like to see a little more of the scenes fleshed out. Usually they're a little hurting on actors when we go. They have definitely developed from the first year we went to when we went most recently. So in the years to come, I think it'll even be better.
And just a little tidbit of this, that this haunt actually started as a home haunt.
Yeah.
These people used to do it in their garage in their house. They lived in like the North Royalton, Strongsville area. And I actually went to their house a couple times with my mom, which was weird. But then all of a sudden it wasn't there anymore. And they're like, oh yeah, we bought a school out here and we're going to do a haunted house. So from being a home haunt and going into being a full-fledged haunt, they've actually done a really well job.
Yeah. And then the next one I want to talk about because it's close is Trail of Nightmares. It's a good trail, also very close to the other two that we just talked about, which is Bloodview and Mohican. Yeah. They have a lot of scenes on there. We would like to go and not get rained out. We haven't been actually made through for a while because last time we made it about half, and then we got to the part where it got really good, and then it poured, and then that was it.
Evacuate.
Yep. If you want a good hayride, Brimstone Haunted Hayride, which is also close to like the Dent area and the other one that we talked about, the Land of Illusion.
Land of Illusion.
So Dent, Land of Illusion. Because we also went to, this isn't on the list. If you've been there and it's amazing, I've heard Terror Town is great. We haven't got to go there yet. We ran out of time in our last trip to the Cincinnati area, so we do hope to get there this year. And I guess they just cover you in blood. So that'll be fun. We plan on going this year. So if that's, you're like, why isn't that on there? Haven't been there. We want to.
Yes. And then we also included a family-friendly haunted house, and that would be Dark View, which if you're going to like Wells Township, which isn't brilliant, this is not too far away from there.
Right. Now we say family-friendly loosely. It's not like there aren't scares there. It isn't like designed necessarily to be like a family-oriented haunted house, but it is a little lighter on the scares. It's a little more whimsical, and it's more outside. And I just think that most kids, if they're okay with that type of stuff, this would be better for them than something like that's insanely gory and real crazy. It's a good one for younger.
And they do actually have like kid-friendly days where they actually do a daytime tour of the haunted houses and stuff like that. And they have like carnival kind of stuff. And I noticed that on the calendar. And stuff.
You don't want to give your kid PTSD, but you also want to probably get them into Halloween if you're kind of a Halloween head like us. Yeah, that's it for our honorable mentions. Like I said before in the earlier parts of the video, let us know where you'd like to see us go. But But I think that's going to be about it. Make sure you do all the things, the like and subscribe and the ringing of the bell, because we have a ton of content coming out. And we've been producing a lot of content. So if you're interested in real creepy places, we have a lot of other stuff. We just did the Supernatural exhibit in Toledo. We just did the Haunted Garage, which is haunted house themed if you like real paranormal stuff. We did Moonville Tunnel recently. A whole bunch of other haunted places. Cool footage, cool drone footage. That kind of stuff. We do like ones that also like voiceovers telling you creepy ghost stories.
Yeah.
We do the podcast where we talk about creepy places and stuff like that. So tons of stuff if you're into it to check out. Just by doing it helps support us a lot. If you're real interested in helping support us continue to grow the channel, there's a link for Patreon. You can go check out that. There's a lot of rewards and stuff like greeting cards and stuff like you get like every other month or something like that for different tiers. And that would help us out greatly. But thank you very much for watching and or listening. And we shall see you all in the next.
Bye.